from Adelaide out into that area, there's a couple of slow stretches. After that, you're pretty good shape to get out around Highway A, and then it's just slow at that point. Westbound 64 Science Center out to Big Bend is busy, and then 364 to 70 is slow. North 270 south of Manchester up to 64 busy. South 270 really a little off the pace of Ladue, not bad. Otherwise, it's good to go. Downtown 44 is still slow at Park, and 64 is jammed at Union Station, headed across the Poplar. Westbound 64 still on the brakes from the Reeder Road overpass past 158 most of the way to Greenmount. I'm Roger Brand at the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
News, traffic, and the latest from the world of sports. This is Rush Hour Sports on 104.1 FM KMOX.
We have arrived to Friday. It is college football playoff first round weekend. There's still a lot going on in the baseball hot stove, and you have found Rush Hour Sports right here on KMOX. Alongside of Bernie Miklasz, I'm Matt Pauley. Bernie, we were just doing this a few hours ago. We handled a Gas House game today, and what do you know? A few hours later, we're back together again.
I'm back. It's been quite the day for me work-wise. For St. Louis Sports Central, I did my morning video. I just got done doing the college football column. I did the Gas House Gang, Dave Glover, now with you on the Rush Hour. And I will say this, it's been a good day. It's been a busy day, but a good day. And I'm looking forward to watching football tonight. And I might have a hot toddy or something for my cold.
Okay. There you go. Well, we'll get into college football in the second half hour.
Maybe two hot toddies.
Nobody's judging, Bernie. Nobody's judging. You could do whatever you'd like to do. I kind of want to continue part of the conversation we had earlier today because we got some comments actually on the stream, and you didn't have to listen to the noon hour to know what we're talking about here. But the Cardinals have been adding pitching, and there's been some people saying, but they were terrible offensively. Why aren't we hearing anything about adding from a hitting standpoint? And I think my initial reaction to that, Bernie, is they don't have the holes yet. They had pitching holes to fill because there's some dudes that aren't around anymore. Sonny Gray's not around. Miles Michaelis isn't around. Eric Fetty isn't around. From a hitting standpoint, you already have way too many guys. You want to find space for J.J. Weatherholt. You're trying to clear out Nolan Arenado. You'd like to maybe move on from a Wilson Contreras. I'm not saying that they're not going to ever add to the hitting group this offseason, but I don't think right now there's an opportunity to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you or me or anybody of sound mind would disagree with the statement that the Cardinals really need more offense. I mean, yeah. But at this particular moment, that's not something that is like an urgent matter, simply because Chaim Bloom is still trying to trade Brendan Donovan, maybe Wilson Contreras, maybe who else might go. We don't know. And one of the things he's trying to do, he wants to get more pitching if he can, but I think he's looking to trade in one of these trades to get a power bat back to St. Louis in return. The kid in Seattle, Menzies, I think is his name. I always mess up his name. I apologize. He's got mad power. I think they want young power, young developing power, because once again, and I don't mean this in a snotty way, but I really don't. But once again, this is a rebuild.
Yes.
They're not making moves based on making 2026 the priority. I mean, a rebuild means you're going to have a couple of years to work on adding whatever the heck you want to add, So if you don't get to it now, Chaim Bloom will certainly get to it later. And I don't mean later as in 2 years from now. I just mean he'll get around when the opportunity's right to add some offense. But he's got to get the right guys. What's the point of bringing people in that they're not high on? I don't know. But maybe they can get a right-handed bench bat to play the outfield. But they're just shopping in a different aisle in a different store right now. This isn't like, well, we got to beef up for 2026. They got to beef up their pitching because you always need pitching. There's so much pitching is necessary to get you through a season. So anyway, but no, that's a good topic.
I also think adding pitching in many ways protects you because you don't want to force a Quinn Matthews up before he's fully ready, and you don't want to get pitchers injured where all of a sudden they got to go get Tommy John surgery and you're going to miss a year and a half of them. You go bring in a Dustin May. Yes, that is by definition, that is a 2026 move because it's a one-year contract and he's coming here for 2026, and I'm not trying to be dismissive of that part of it. But we've heard Heim talk ad nauseum about wanting to have relief pitchers that can cover multiple innings. They are seemingly, I don't want to use the word paranoid, but I don't have a better word to use at the moment, so I'll use it. They're almost paranoid about the idea of overworking some of these young starting pitchers, and I think they're doing that as a way to try to avoid injuries. And we can debate whether or not they should operate in that way or not, but I am trying, for people listening, I am trying to explain why maybe bringing in a pitcher who can cover some innings in 2026 is different than trying to find somebody for 2026 that's going to go help you score some runs.
Well, the number one reason the Cardinals had a winning record 2 years ago, and the number one reason that their record was not worse in 2025 is because they really, really beefed up their bullpen. It was a mixture of some people they brought in from the outside, but it was also a part of that mix was people that were within the organization they gave a chance to. And it worked out great. The Cardinals had, over the last 2 years, the Cardinals have had, and I know the haters are going to just spit out their coffee or whatever, but that's fine. I got this great report from someone actually inside Major League Baseball. It said basically the last 2 years, the Cardinals have had the best bullpen in the majors, which is kind of nuts when you think about, you usually would think that'd be like the Yankees or something.
Yeah.
Well, that's because they made the bullpen a priority, not only to win, but also to protect their starting pitchers. And last season, their starting pitchers as a group were not good, but it could have been a lot worse because you could have had guys breaking down and going on the IL over and over again. That didn't happen. They're the only major league team that did not have a starting pitcher on the IL last year. So they're believe it or not, there is a method to the madness. This isn't just some random, well, let's just throw some crap against the wall. They're planning to do things. And I think Chaim Bloom's influence will be realized after a while. I just wish people would give him a chance.
Yeah.
My gosh. Just can we give him a chance? Anyway,
I get frustrated, and there's other things I get as well, but I'll use the word frustrated in this situation. I get frustrated when people are judging Chaim Bloom off what John Mozeliak did previously. It's two completely different regimes doing two different things.
Right.
It's not, and just because the DeWitts might be in place doesn't mean anything. So we'll have plenty of time. Chaim Bloom's not going anywhere. We'll have plenty of time to judge the body of work and evaluate the good things and the bad things because he's not going to hit right on every single thing. But to ding him already because of the guy who happened to be in the office before him, I think is totally unfair. And I also think it kind of
is what it is.
It litters the conversation and the narratives that we're trying to have about this team moving forward.
The guy has been in charge for basically a little less than 3 months. And what has happened during the 3 months? Well, first of all, the player development system and the minor league operation has gotten considerably better. And it's considerably better in part and will continue to get better because they put out another release the other day, the Chaim Bloom, Rob Cerfolio, Larry Day. And I had a note about this a couple of weeks ago. The Cardinals have hired an incredible number of new people to put in the player development system, the minor league system, extra coaches, extra pitching instructors, extra technology people, analytical people. They have basically redeveloped their entire training staff, so to speak, with a lot of new personnel there. they've been very, 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 very busy attacking that problem. You know why? Because they had to attack the problem because the Cardinals were stale. They were outdated. They had fallen behind the industry trends. So I'm not sure why anyone who professes to be a Cardinals fan would not think that this is a really smart idea and something that had to be done, and that it's a real positive that it's being done. Because your major league club with the players you're developing is only going to go so far as the help they get along the way in terms of being better players when they get to the majors, more prepared when they get to the majors, having enough pitching in the system, starting pitching, which has been a problem. You have to bulk up your player development system if you want players to be developed and form the nucleus at the major league level. I mean,
100%. Yeah.
No one's trying to split the atom here. This is pretty simple stuff.
Every single level of the minor leagues getting at least one extra coach. It is a major investment in player development. That just barely touches the surface of some of the things that they have done. That's Bernie Miklasz. I'm Matt Pauley. If you've got comments on what we're talking about, feel free to leave a comment in the chat. For those of you who are watching us, for those of you listening, feel free to text into the program. We've got more coming up. This is Rush Hour Sports on KMOX.
Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original, present 100 years of KMOX.
Ladies and gentlemen, His Holiness Pope John Paul II.
There, when St. Louis celebrated.
We greet you and we thank you. For 20 years, you have lifted our spirits and touched our hearts.
There was much excitement in St. Louis during the recent baseball season.
Could have picked any other state or country to go to, and you picked our city.
I will always remember St. Louis. I will remember all of you. God bless St. Louis. God bless America.
There for every headline, every heartbreak, every heartbeat. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis. Brought to you by St. Louis Public Library, St. Louis's original search engine.
Discover one of St. Louis's greatest treasures, St. Louis Public Library's Central Library. Designed by world-renowned architect Cass Gilbert and completed in 1912, this Beaux Arts masterpiece blends stunning historic details with modern design after a $70 million award-winning renovation. Experience the grandeur for yourself. Free docent-led tours are available Mondays at 11 and 12:30 and Saturdays at 11 noon and 1 p.m. Visit online at slpl.org to learn more. St. Louis Public Library.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
Traffic from the MichaelsFloorandOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, still got a couple of jams due to crashes out there. Unfortunately, they have not completely cleared. I thought they had, but they have not. Westbound 270 west of the Canal Bridge, we still have that crash with a lane blocked. It's jammed almost midway between 203 and 111 on westbound 270, and only the two left lanes are open past the crash. Eastbound 70 just before Jennings Station. Eastbound 70's jammed almost back to 170. South 170's backed up due to 64. North 170 from 70 all the way up to almost 270 is slow. By the way, westbound 70's busy from West Florissant out through Jennings Station because they're looking at that crash. Eastbound 70 also has some heavy traffic east of the Blanchette Bridge into 270. Westbound 64, Science Center headed out to Hanley, slow. There's still some slow stuff west of Lake St. Louis Boulevard, so it's getting better there. 270 both ways between Manchester and Oliver, busy. Southbound south of Gravelly to 55 is slow. Eastbound 64 east of Jefferson across Poplar, 44 slow at 55 to the bridge. And westbound 64, the Reeder Road overpass past 158, most of the way to Greenmount backed up. I'm Roger Brand at the Michaels Flooring Outlet.com Traffic Center.
This is Rush Hour Sports on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Back at it on KMOX as we do continue. It is Rush Hour Sports alongside Bernie Miklasz. I'm Matt Pauley. We appreciate you being with us today. Bernie, you've written here over the last week or so a couple columns that had money as the central theme. One about baseball and the amount of money they've spent this offseason, and also a column about the Cardinals and some of the not-so-good money they've spent. I want to discuss a couple of those things. First off, are you at all surprised, because I asked Hein Bloom at the winter meetings very directly and specifically if he saw anything going on in the market that he felt was being impacted by the looming collective bargaining agreement and the lockout that will start on December 1st of next year, and he didn't, and we've seen all these contracts getting handed out. It seems like it's a narrative that people like me were talking about, that the looming lockout might impact free agency, but in reality, I'm not sure that it is at all.
No, I that was one of the reasons why, because I've been trying to keep a running tab, and it's actually increased since I wrote that column. But, you know, at the time I wrote the column, in terms of just free agent signings, not contract extensions for existing players that are already on the team, they were up to major league owners were up to $1.2 billion. And that's probably, you know, a lot closer to about $1.4 billion now. And that's still with a long way to go in the offseason. And it's not all that many players either. You know, it's not like it's 100 players. It's more like less than 50 players. So they're spending like crazy. Like I was talking to some people, and I might have thrown this into a video where I'm looking at guys maybe the Cardinals would target to just add to the rotation if they were looking for a veteran. And I said, hey, you know, Adrian Hauser's out there. He had a good year last year. You probably get him 1 year, you know, maybe $8 or $9 million, something like that. No. Giants gave him $22 million over 2 years. The prices keep going up. So if the owners are scared about what's going to happen with the collective bargaining agreement, and if they're scared they're going to miss games in the schedule in 2027, they're sure not acting like it, because you even have the Reds and the Pirates trying to sign players and making trades and doing stuff. You know, there's no, you know, if you look at like who's sort of out of commission this year as far as trying to compete, the Cardinals would be one team. You know, I think obviously the White Sox, maybe the Nationals, the Rockies, always. But some teams we're not used to seeing spend money or even just trying hard are turning up the effort. So it's a good sign for baseball. And I think the dumbest possible thing they could do is slow their own momentum and damage their own momentum, because the game is very, very popular right now in every measurable way. So why would you mess with that? There's plenty of money for everybody.
I could be a conspiracy theorist sometimes. I don't think I believe the words that are about to come out of my mouth, but it has the thought has gone through my mind. Is this, not that it's collusion, but is there some posturing going on here where owners are trying to present themselves in a way that when they get to the bargaining table next year, they can use the most recent full free, you know, there'll be some signings before the lockout coming up, but it won't be a full free agent period. This is our final full free agent offseason prior to the collective bargaining agreement expiring, using this as an opportunity to be able to go argue that their point of the money that they're spending when they do get to the negotiations next year.
Yeah, they're trying to make themselves look better, and that's okay as long as they follow through with it and have genuine negotiations, and they don't go crazy by, you know, demanding that a salary cap be put on place, and then and if they don't, then they'll shut down the game for as long as it takes. And by the way, this isn't me taking a position on a salary cap, because I know some fans would say, well, the salary cap would be great, so what would be wrong with that? Well, what would be wrong with that is that if you tell the Players Association, well, there won't be a CBA unless you agree to salary cap, and you put the proverbial symbolic gun to their head, all this progress Major League Baseball's made in terms of larger presence on streaming platforms, higher local TV ratings, revenue continues to go up and up and up, attendance continues to go up and up and up. So if you want to try to impose a salary cap, the salary cap's worth talking about, but you can't dictate a salary cap. Right. It's got to be part of the negotiations. That's the difference.
How do I say this? So I like living in reality. That's the best way to say it. I like to live in reality. So when people start talking about a salary cap, that's not reality. Are there things you can do to start moving towards that? Can you do some things with the tax? Can you do some things with a floor? Can you do some other things that maybe multiple collective bargaining agreements down the line that you've moved in that direction? Yeah, that's a possibility. But Bernie, we both know this. If the owners go to the players and say the start of our negotiation starts with a salary cap, well, then we're not playing baseball in 2027. That's not going to happen. The owners are not that dumb. Like, everybody understands what I'm saying, but from the outside world, there continues to be words about the cap, and it's just not going to happen.
It would help major league owners and front offices to spend their money more wisely. And if you don't mind, I'll throw something in about the other column I wrote that you alluded to. And this one's pretty simple to explain. How many times have we all heard, payroll. DeWitt's got to spend money. DeWitt's got to spend money. DeWitt's got to spend money. DeWitt's got to spend money, over and over and over again, this endless loop. And I'm referring to when John Mozeliak was still running things. So I went back and looked at all the free agent signings, and I could have included a lot more that didn't work out all that well, but I focused on the ones that were important free agent signings, and this is only from 2016 through 2025 because the Cardinals have fallen off the platform, the stage in October over the last 10 years. They have really become irrelevant to postseason baseball, and that is just awful that they allowed that to happen. But what do you want me to? We'll do this afterward the break or whatever.
You can finish real quick. Yeah.
Okay. Ahead. Well, over the 10-year period that ended last year, John Mozeliak, the 15 players that they signed to free agent contracts, including Mike Leake, Dexter Fowler, all those relievers, on and on and on and on. I isolated on 15 of the contracts because they were really important at the time. They spent $500 million on those 15 players. And what do they have to show for it? Basically nothing. About 47 wins above replacement, which is less than what Ohtani and Aaron Judge have had combined over the last 3 years. I mean, yet people talk about payroll as if that's the problem. And Big Mouth here has been screaming for years. No, the problem is that they're spending stupidly. That's the problem. And
bad money spent.
Yeah, I can finish on this. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go so hard against a break. My apologies.
No problem. We will indeed take a break for our bottom of the hour news. We will jump up. We may do a little more baseball to finish that thought, but also really jump into football. In fact, Bernie's picks column just dropped a few moments ago over at STL Sports Central. We'll talk about the college football playoff. We got a few more things to do here on Rush Hour Sports on KMOX.
December 24th marks a century of KMOX, 100 years as the voice of St. Louis. To celebrate, enjoy a day of special KMOX Day broadcasts featuring 10 hours of programming beginning at 8 a.m. A full day honoring the legendary voices, groundbreaking programming, and unforgettable moments that shaped a century of service. Join us December 24th. Presented by Purina, your pet, our passion. KMOX, 100 years as the voice of St. Louis.
At 5:30 right now, 36 degrees. The feels like is 30 downtown at the Arch.
CBS News special report. The Justice Department has started releasing thousands of Jeffrey Epstein files. Epstein survivor Haley Robeson.
This is about children. There is no place in society for exploitation, sexual crimes, or exploitation of women.
CBS's Katrina Kaufman.
There are hundreds of thousands of pages to go through, and we're also trying to be very careful about how we vet these before we report new information on air.
CBS's Jake Rosen.
The second in command at the Department of Justice, Todd Blanche, said earlier today that this is going to be the first batch of others, and that the Department of Justice is still working on producing a lot of these files, partly because the Department of Justice says they need to continue to redact sensitive information about potential victims and potential identifying factors.
Under a new law, the Justice Department was required to release all of the files. The department in July said it had not found any information that could support prosecuting anybody else. CBS News special report. I'm Cammie McCormick.
President Trump says the U.S. military has started conducting strikes against ISIS in Syria as a very serious retaliation days after the ambush attack killed 2 U.S. service members and an American interpreter there. CBS Pentagon reporter Eleanor Watson.
The military is calling this a large-scale strike campaign in retaliation for that attack last week that killed 2 members of the Iowa National Guard and a U.S. interpreter. The president and Secretary of Defense Hegseth vowed retaliation after the attack. The attack that the military says was conducted by a lone ISIS gunman who ambushed the 2 soldiers and the interpreter while in Palmyra, Syria.
For the second year in a row, the St. Louis Blues are putting games back on free television. The team is simulcasting 4 regular season games on Channel 4. The first broadcast is Saturday, December 27th against Nashville. The deal also puts the games on over-the-air stations in Kansas City, Cape Girardeau, Quincy, and other markets, reaching nearly 5 million households without needing a cable or streaming subscription. The station will also broadcast the Blues Hall of Fame induction ceremony on January 12th. Joe Buck says he isn't ready for a full-time baseball comeback. The St. Louis native will call ESPN's first MLB broadcast of the season on April 15th, the Mets and the Dodgers. But Buck admits he's turned down offers to call playoff games or midseason matchups. He jokes to SI he'd have to put himself in solitary confinement for a month just to catch up on everything he's missed in the sport over the past 4 years. From the Salika Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, and we get into tonight, low 32 degrees. For tomorrow, we've got sunshine, high in the 50s. For Sunday, winter begins with sunshine and a high in the 40s. Right now it's 36. The feels like it's 30 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Hey, Missouri, if you haven't heard by now, FanDuel Sportsbook is live here in the Show Me State, and they're kicking things off with an offer that is really tough to beat. So right now, new customers can bet $5 and then get $300 in bonus bets. Whether you win or lose that initial $5 bet, you get those $300 bonus bets either direction. And it doesn't matter what you're choosing. Whether it's football, basketball, hockey, you can bet it all on an app that is safe, secure, and super easy to use. I've been on it since the app launched years ago. I just couldn't play in Missouri until now. Now I get to, and you can do. So download FanDuel today or head to FanDuel.com/Missouri to join in on the excitement, because Missouri, it's time to play your game with FanDuel. Remember, 21 and older and present in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit is required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bet that expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com.
Hey, Bernie Miklasz here on behalf of my friends at Salika Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer that's been taking care of us for 18 years and taking care of St. Louis families since 1927. 100 years. 100 years. Does that tell you something? Maybe they're really, really great, the Saliga family, at what they do, their family business. You don't last 100 years without being great and without earning the trust of generations of St. Louis families. And I can vouch for that, being one of those families. They've taken great care of us. Nobody wants to have, a breakdown of your heating or cooling or some related problem. Nobody wants that. But what we have found through the years is we're nice and calm when it happens, because we're like, well, that's all right. Saliga's on the way. They'll know what to do. And we trust them 100%. So I'm happy to always speak on behalf of Salika Heating and Cooling, because I'm grateful. We're grateful for the service they've provided to the Miklasz family for the last 18 years. One more thing, check out the Priority Club. It's a maintenance plan. It's going to save you money by extending the life of your current equipment. If you want more information about all of the stuff that they do and to get the phone number, just go to SalikaHeatingandCooling.com. Thank you.
Want to build income without a second job? Learn how real estate investing can help you create extra income one step at a time with Lifestyles Unlimited. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer. Haven't practiced in a long time, but I did plaintiff's work and defense work, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. I have a pretty good idea of who's who in the firmament of plaintiffs' attorneys. And for my money, Mark Cantor is the guy. He's a great attorney. He is a great practitioner. He's put together a great team. He was born and raised here. He lives here. He works here. He wins here. Call 314-628-ALL-9s or CantorInjuryLaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based on advertising.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-894-7722. That's 800-894-7722. Again, 800-894-7722.
Thank you, St. Louis, for making Genesis of St. Charles the #1 Genesis dealer in Missouri for 2025. We know your time is valuable. That's why every purchase comes with 3 years of complimentary Genesis service valet. Unlock your e-price and save. That means complimentary vehicle pickup and delivery, plus a loaner vehicle at no additional cost. Or want something new? We'll bring the test drive to you. Visit GenesisofStCharles.com during the Genesis Signature event. Based on GMA sales records for 2024. See dealer for details.
If you want thick, healthy, gorgeous hair, then you need Hair Volume from New Nordic. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy, Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
A KFC tale in the pursuit of flavor. The holidays were tricky for the Colonel. He loved people, but he also loved peace and quiet. So he cooked up KFC's $4.99 chicken pot pie. Warm, flaky, with savory sauce and vegetables. It's a tender chicken-filled excuse to get some time to yourself and step away from decking the halls. Whatever that means. The Colonel lived so we could chicken. KFC's Chicken Pot Pie. The best $4.99 you'll spend this season.
Prices and participation may vary while supplies last. Taxes, tips, and fees extra.
Selling your home, it's one of the biggest financial decisions you'll ever make. You could go it alone, trying to navigate market trends, determine fair pricing, and tackle tricky negotiations on your own. You could second-guess every decision, wondering if you're doing it right. Then there's the showings, the offers, and the mountain of paperwork. Or you could work with the expertise of a Realtor, here to guide and help protect as you make your next big move. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. Right by you.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, we still got our jam in Madison County. This traffic report's a service of the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. Westbound 270, still have that crash west of the Canal Bridge. They're trying to wrap it up, but it's a solid jam at 111 on westbound 270 right now. Westbound 64 is still backed up just west of the Reeder Road overpass through 158. Opens up midway to Greenmount due to road work. Eastbound 70, a little backup between Hanley and Florissant Road and Cool Valley. Then it's just kind of busy heading into Jennings Station from the earlier crash. It's gone. Westbound 70, Union out through Jennings Station is slow. Northbound 170, north of Natural Bridge up through Scudder's, bumper to bumper. South 170 is hard on the brakes, pretty solid from Ladue down to 64. Westbound 64, Hampton headed out through Big Bend's busy. Eastbound 64 on the brakes, approaching 170 to Big Bend. North and South 170 between Olive and Manchester, kind of busy. Northbound is actually more so than southbound there. Eastbound 70 is also heavy east of the Blanchard into 270. And westbound west of K to Lake St. Louis Boulevard is slow. I'm Roger Brand at the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. We are ready to serve you in the areas of business litigation, intellectual property, health law, and products liability. SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of lawyers and important decisions should not be based solely on advertising.
This is Rush Hour Sports on 104.1 FM KMOX.
That's Bernie Miklasz. I'm Matt Pauley. We are taking you until 6 o'clock this evening. I know I teased we talk college football playoff. I promise we will. But Bob Nightingale just tweeted something out a few moments ago that goes right along with what we were talking about, Bernie. So I wanted to touch on this really quickly. It goes back to the finances. The total price tag is out for this year's luxury tax. Last year, teams paid just over $311 million. This year, they paid $90 million more than that, so it went up. But the staggering number, Bernie, is that the tax assessment on the Los Angeles Dodgers was just over $169 million, meaning their tax bill was higher than the total payrolls of, not combined, but of these teams singularly, the St. Louis Cardinals, the Colorado Rockies, the Reds, the Brewers, the Twins, Washington, Cleveland, the A's, the Pirates, Tampa Bay, the White Sox, and Miami. Their tax was more than the payrolls of all of those teams in baseball. It's remarkable.
It is, and I don't know how I feel about the system as it is in place now. I don't have any answers, but it seems to me it could be better. I just don't know how. There seems to be, like, for example, the Cardinals shouldn't be receiving revenue sharing, right? I think part of it needs to be, when you talk about this system with revenue sharing being a big part of it, it's got to go to clubs that have the financial wherewithal to spend more than they do. And I know the Cardinals are smart to reduce payroll when they're rebuilding, because it'd be dumb to spend a lot of money right now. But still, it's just that system is out of whack. And I didn't mean to I hope I didn't change the subject a little. I wasn't trying to. But that's, the luxury tax thing is part of it. The revenue sharing thing is part of it. It's confusing at times.
Yeah, I don't know what the answer is on this. But going back to something you said, where you talked about all the money that the Cardinals have spent, and essentially the Dodgers have gotten more out of a single player in Shohei Ohtani than the Cardinals in the last couple of years, than the Cardinals got out of all those players for the $500 million or whatever it was. I forget the exact numbers you had, but that was the premise. Million. Okay, so what that tells you is the Dodgers are not actually overpaying for Shohei Ohtani. The Cardinals spent money in a way that they did not get the return on investment, yet we look at this number and we see this crazy tax bill for the Dodgers. Just everything is so out of whack.
In this 10-year period, 2016 through 2025, the Cardinals have won 4 postseason games. In the previous 20 seasons, they won 71 postseason games. They do not have a National League Championship Series win in the last 10 years. The 20 years before that, they won 67 NLCS games. Yet, over the last 10 years, despite winning 4 postseason games, or I should have it the other way around, just to recap, the Cardinals gave $500 million worth of contracts to 15 players. And there were more players, but I wanted to focus on the ones who were considered prominent signings at the time. They just burned their own money. They flushed it into the sewer. They dumped it into the Mississippi River. It's unbelievable. So $500 million, on, the Mike Leakes and the Dexter Fowlers and all those bad relievers, Brett Cecil, Greg Holland, Luke Gregerson, all these bad relievers they brought in. I mean, on and on and on. Yeah. Did Mo sign some good players? Yeah. He's always done a pretty good job with relievers, but that's really not the point. Because if he had some of the players that I'm referring to where they invested $500 million in them, if there were more of those guys that turned out well at good signings, then the good signings that Mo did make, they would have mattered, because maybe half the guys on this list or 10 of the 15 on this list would have also come through in a big way. Then they would have had something, but they didn't. $500 million flushed down the toilet. And I'll close it out on this, because I'm going to just continue to hammer this point over and over and over and over again. During this 10-year period where they were wasting $500 million, largely wasting it, the Cardinals ranked in the top 10 Major League payroll 5 times. They were 11th another time. In 8 of the 10 years, they had an above-average Major League Baseball payroll. And the only time they went really down was this past season. So for all the payroll junkies, I call them one-issue voters, because they can't look at anything else. To them, it's all about the payroll. Well, what do you got to say about the $500 million that they completely wasted? And what do you, even though they were in the top 10 payrolls for half the time, and, above average payroll in 80% of the time. So were the payroll people, were they happy with the results of that? The money that they did spend, were you happy with that? Well, if you were, well, good for you. I wasn't, because they've won 4 postseason games and lost 11 in the last 10 years. And they've won 1 postseason game at home during that time. I mean, what?
The numbers speak for themselves.
Spend. And I also like these people. Like, we have this one guy who's a troll. He thinks we all talk about Chaim Bloom too much. Gee, I wonder why would we talk about Chaim Bloom? He's the first guy the Cardinals have hired from outside the organization to be the head of the baseball department since Walt Jocketty in 1995.
Yeah.
And they hired him not just to rebuild the player development and farm system. Simultaneously, he's also rebuilding the major league roster. Gee, why would these idiots in the St. Louis media talk about him? What has he done? He's been here with this major league stuff for 3 months. He should have had this thing rebuilt by now. Is it possible to be any dumber than that? I don't know. Apparently there might be. I hope not. I hope I don't encounter anybody that dumb.
That's Bernie Miklasz. I'm Matt Pauley. I promise. We'll talk college football playoff. We'll do that in our final segment. That's coming up in just a moment. It's Rush Hour Sports on KMOX.
For residential and commercial heating repairs, service, maintenance, or installation, contact Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. With over 50 years of HVAC service, get in your comfort zone this winter. Visit aircomfortservice.com. That's aircomfortservice.com.
This is Todd Krenz with Krenz Financial Group. For over 6 decades, we've helped St. Louis families and businesses plan with purpose and live with confidence. We work closely with professionals in healthcare, from doctors and nurses to medical sales in biotech and pharma. Our team helps you navigate complex financial decisions like retirement plans, disability insurance, consolidating old 401ks, and understanding stock options. Focus on what you do best. Your goals, our mission. Start today at kfgadvisors.com.
Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services, member FINRA/SIPC. Krenz Financial Group is not a broker dealer.
Bernie Miklasz here for Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer. The Saliga family's been taking great care of St. Louis since 1927 and still have the best and most trustworthy customer service in town. Saliga can handle all of your heating and air conditioning needs for home or business. They offer free estimates and financing options, and they won't leave you hanging if there's an emergency. The Miklasz family's been calling on Saliga for more than 15 years, and we fully appreciate their knowledge, their class, and their integrity. Saliga's never tried to pressure us. They always take the time to discuss all the available options, including low-cost solutions. Saliga has saved us good money with their Priority Club maintenance program, which extends the life of our equipment. Members receive priority service and the peace of mind in knowing their home will be safe and comfortable during all 4 seasons. The Miklasz family truly values Saliga Heating and Cooling, and you will too. For more information, call Saliga at 314-481-7333 or visit SaligaHeatingandCooling.com.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, we still got our westbound 270 jam from west of 111 all the way through the Canal Bridge. That crash midway between there and the Chain of Rocks is the culprit. It's been out there for a while. Westbound 64 still jammed, approaching 158. It opens up as you approach Greenmount. That's due to road work. New crash in the median, and they have the left lane closed. Northbound 170 south of Scudder. Traffic jams approaching Highway 70. South 170 backs up at Ladue. Westbound 70 slow stuff at the city limits. Eastbound 70 is kind of busy east of the Blanchard into 270. If you're on westbound 64 Hampton through Bellevue, slow. After that, it looks good. Eastbound 64, midway in from Lindbergh to McKnight through Big Bend is heavy. North 270, Clayton Road through Ladue is busy. And downtown, eastbound 44 at Park, eastbound 64 at Union Station backed up, headed across the Poplar. I'm Roger Brand at the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Rush Hour Sports continues on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Just a few minutes left on this edition alongside of Bernie Miklasz. I'm Matt Pauley. When we get done, we've got tonight's countdown to opening day show. I hope you'll be with us for that. 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. Our featured long-form interview this week is with Jacob Buffa. He is the new Cardinals Senior Director for International Scouting, so you're going to learn a lot about him and what the Cardinals are trying to do from an international scouting standpoint. We also have a one-on-one interview with new Cardinals pitcher Dustin May, so that all starts at 6 o'clock tonight, and be tuned in for that when we get done. Bernie, also going on tonight, college football playoff officially gets underway. 1 game tonight, 3 games tomorrow. Feels like 2 of these games have the opportunity to be pretty good. 2 of the games don't look great, at least on paper. But right. Tonight's game looks like a pretty good one with Alabama and Oklahoma.
Yeah, Oklahoma favored by 1.5. That line has changed back and forth this week. Listen, I know, I understand why people will say, Oklahoma should win this game. They will win this game. I get that. But I think Alabama, when they played that game, they lost to Oklahoma in Tuscaloosa. I think that was a pretty battered, beat-up team that had also gone through a killer stretch of schedule, including one 4-game stretch where they played nothing but ranked teams. And I think that this rest, this 2-week break that they've got, I think it's 2 weeks. I think it's going to do them a lot of good. I think they're going to be a lot fresher. But I will say this, Alabama ain't going to be able to run the ball against Oklahoma's defense. So Ty Simpson is going to have to get back to early season form, and they're going to have to protect him better. And one of the things that has happened to Ty Simpson is defensive coordinators, including Brent Venables, when they played, a few weeks ago, they're blitzing the heck out of him. Blitz, 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 and he has not performed well under pressure. He's capable of having a great game, and I assume that Kalen DeBoer and the offensive coordinator have come up with a better way to make some adjustments and handle the pass rush tactics Oklahoma has. Oklahoma can't score. I mean, they just have a lousy offense in every way. So Alabama doesn't have to be great tonight. They were when they lost to Oklahoma in Tuscaloosa, they outgained them 406 yards to 212. They had 23 first downs to 12 for Oklahoma. They threw for 326 yards, but they were 0-3 in terms of the turnovers. That's the only reason why they lost that game. They dominated the line of scrimmage. So my point is, if Alabama can avoid handing the ball or giving the ball or throwing the ball to Oklahoma tonight for 2 or 3 turnovers, they should win this game. That's how I see it anyway.
I would encourage people to head to STL Sports Central. Bernie's got Bernie, you put a lot of work into this. I've just kind of glanced through it because it posted as the show was going on, but you really break down all of the games in the college football playoff. We don't have time to do much more right now, but STL Sports Central, Bernie puts the work into it. You might as well go read it. You know what? Maybe he'll even win you a few bucks because he's got some picks against the spread in there as well. Bernie, have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the college football playoff. Start feeling better, and we will talk to you again coming up on Monday.
Matt, always love working with you, man. You have a great weekend. Maybe I'll text you over the weekend. We could talk about some of the stuff going on with college football.
All right, that sounds great. That's Bernie Miklasz. Again, coming up next here on KMOX, it is the Countdown to Opening Day show. Fun show tonight. You're going to hear a one-on-one with new Cardinals pitcher Dustin May. Also, Jacob Buffa, Senior Director for International Scouting, one of the newest members of the Cardinals organization. He is going to join us. The Countdown to Opening Day show begins after the 6 o'clock news right here on KMOX.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Health